Going on, world? It's me again, Ethan Smith, aka Mr. P.I.E.N. Another Saturday session of Expression Sessions. How's everybody doing this wonderful Saturday? Say hi to the people. You're gonna be here. Got my daughter Zaria sitting in right now for my co-host, my counterpart, my partner in crime, my wife Tim Kedia. What's going on, Zaria? You sitting here being silly with the people. You gonna say something?
This is my broken slinky.
Really? What you doing with a broken slinky?
Doing this with it. It still works. It still slinks.
No, but you had to let them know it was broken first.
See, the top's kind of,
Well, anyhow, man, hopefully everybody's having a wonderful Saturday. Everybody's enjoyed their Saturday. Maybe you got up, watched some football for my fellas. Maybe the ladies got up and they did some shopping, or maybe you did some cleaning the house. I don't know what you did on this Saturday, but I know if you're a parent or if you're planning on being a parent one day, that your Saturdays can be probably pretty busy, pretty full. When my son was younger, Saturdays was football games. Zaria here hasn't really done a lot on Saturdays, not yet at least. But I remember Tradesa had cheerleading, and parenting is just one of those things that keeps you busy all the time, man. Today, what we'll talk about, yeah, they know who Tradesa is. Okay. You got stuff on your lips. But anyhow, today we're going to talk about parenting and the importance of parenting. And I know that this topic, this conversation is definitely going to ruffle some people's feathers, and I'm fine with that. You're going to check the quality of your face in the camera. You know you live, right? Parenting 101. Love my kids to death. They have no shade, no shame whatsoever. It don't matter. I guess they get it from their father. Anyhow, hey, what's going on, Uncle Tony? It's my Uncle Tony over there on the Instagram. You looking like...
Where is he?
He just said hi. He joined. So you wave and you saying hi. John Woods, what's going on, John? Anyhow, talking about parenting, mom just like parenting move. Hit her with the thumb. Like, get up out of here. Like, I'm late. You on time, but get up out of here.
I'll be at the end of the video. Wicka.
Wow. Really, this is how we doing it now. But anyhow, welcome Kiki, my lovely wife, co-host. We talking about parenting today, and she gonna just come over here and like get up out of here. Anyway, hey love, how's it going?
Hey love.
You doing all right? You woke?
Yeah, I'm woke.
You woke. Okay, cool. She woke. How are you doing, sir? Hey, Uncle Tony, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing real good. Just working on building this business, working on building this platform with my wife, getting myself in shape, out rucking and walking, and just looking to inspire people and talk to the people and give them a message, and looking to really shift some parents' minds today, if it needs to be shifted, or give you a different way to think about parenting and the importance of our parenting. Parenting is not what's going on, John? Parenting is not just a my uncle said hi. I believe you met me before.
Yes. Hey.
Parenting is not just as I was when we were kids, or as we was. I don't know about you and your household, but for me, it was more of a do as I say and not as I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, do what I tell you to do, but don't do what I'm doing. Like, what? That don't make sense. And I was reading an article a couple of weeks back when I did that speech about show and tell. I was reading the article in Forbes magazine, and they said over 65% of the people are visual learners. So think about that as a parent. If over 65% of the people are visual learners, then 9 times out of 10, you or yourself is a visual learner. So when you tell your child, do as I say, not as I do, you're sending a wrong signal. You're sending a wrong message. Because if most people learn by what we watch, our parents do. The first people who lay the foundation for our moral compass, our values, our religious beliefs, our education beliefs, school and structure. If our parents are the first ones that we see, if our parents are the first ones that we learn from, if our parents are the ones who begin to lead us and guide us, isn't it up to us as parents to lead or guide our children in the right direction? And for my spiritual people or non-spiritual people, I know the Bible say train up a child in the way he should go, and therefore they shouldn't depart. But I got my notes today. You want to talk to the people while I give my notes real quick?
Not really.
He just gonna drop me in here. Anyhow, in Proverbs 22:6, it says, train up a child in the way they should go, and then therefore they shouldn't depart. Maybe I should have had you look these up for me. But if it's train up a child in the way they should go, that had me thinking, when you hear the word train, what does it mean to train? And when I was in the military, when I was in the Army, we would often talk about training. We train to standard, not to time, meaning we do this exercise, we shoot, we run these lanes, we do it over and over again. And how we started that training, you started with your leadership going out doing a recon, mainly getting the information, understanding what's going on. And the leaders were trained. That explains why I'm always at work and my bills are always paid on time, because I followed in my mom's footsteps.
Absolutely.
Amen, Uncle Tony. Absolutely right. And I'm complete opposite. I am always at work and my bills are not always paid on time, but God blessed me with a partner who does. So I'm more of a spontaneous go find my own lane, sort of like you found your own lane, but just figuring out which way, well, now I'm knowing what my lane is, being speaking. So now I can work nonstop. But anyhow, going back to the military and what we did as far as training, the leadership went out first. And the leadership got the training, and the leadership received most of the training. They kind of had an introduction, but not the full course meal. Okay. And now when we would come back as leaders to our guys, to our troops, to our soldiers, we would train them with we would train them from the information we received, meaning that the definition of train says teach a particular skill or type of behavior through practice and instruction over a period of time. And the key word to that for me was through practice, through practice. In order for you to practice something, you must do something. Right. So when the Bible says train up a child in the way that they should go, and if they depart, they'll come back. And I know I'm butchering it, but I'm looking it up. They'll come back. And to train means to practice, to actually do something. So if you're training someone, you must first know how to do it. You can't train anyone how to become an engineer if you're not first yourself an engineer. And for parents, how can you say you want to train your child to be a successful child if you're not a successful parent? How is that possible? And I get it. You're saying I've been here longer. I'm smarter than you. I know more than you. I'm wiser than you. And that all could be true. You could be smarter. You could be wiser at that stage of your life. But that doesn't necessarily mean everything that I say to my daughter is right. Just because I'm smarter than my daughter, or just because I'm wiser, or I live longer than my daughter, doesn't mean that I know everything that my daughter's going through and experiencing. Or one of the things we would hear, or I even said as a parent, there's nothing new under the sun. Newsflash, I'm sitting at home on the camera that people that worked in news studios only did. I'm looking at my phone on Instagram Live that wasn't available in 1990. So the phone concept may not be new for parents, but what children are doing with phones now is new. And as parents, we have to learn to adjust. And I know that's going to be crazy for some of y'all. I ain't adjusting to my kids, but here's the thing. Why not learn and adjust from your kids in the day and age that they're in? Because your kids are more connected to the realities of the world right now than we are. Right. I mean, no matter how you look at it, in the 1990s, even though my parents are older than me, they couldn't tell me about how life was in the 90s, because you're telling me based off how it was in the 70s. That's like me attempting to tell our 22-year-old daughter, or our 24-year-old, my daughter, her stepdaughter, our daughter. That's like us attempting to tell them how to live life in 2019 based off of mainly probably how I grew up in 1995, 1996, 1997. You know, does that make sense? Yeah. So for parents, when you want to hit your kids with these Bible scriptures and you want to quote these scriptures, train up a child in the way that they should go so they won't depart. The word train, and I think about Jesus training the disciples. Jesus led by action. So if you're not willing to lead by action first, you might not want to go to scripture to try to help your point be put across. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just might not want to do that. If you're going to be a parent, if you made the decision to have kids, what's going on, Dre? What's going on, Bill? Mac, McDonald. I'm calling you Bill. I don't call nobody by their first name. But anyhow, if you're going to be a successful parent, I believe one of the things that make a successful parent is the ability to listen and understand. You know what I'm saying? You looking like, okay, yeah, sure. You know what we talking about today? She always
Parenting.
like, you talking to me and I don't have nothing because I ain't prepared. So I'm telling her today what we talking about, people.
Thank you. Parenting.
101, right. It was a point in time where she used to treat me like she was my parent because I was acting like a kid. You know what? Don't don't agree to my madness. You got something you want to say on that? No, you just gonna leave me. Okay.
No,
cool.
I was gonna say I think parenting is more about leadership. You have to be the change you want to be a lot of times. We can't just, I mean, you can. I don't know how effective you'll be, but I just feel like
hey, Miss Nikki.
To be effective in parenting, you have to a lot of times be the change you want to be. You have to first make those changes within yourself, and then your kids will follow. They're modeling after what you do. I take something as simple as my eating habits. Me and Zaria are foodies. So whatever I eat, she's like, hey, Mom, can I get some of that if I have something? So I know that my eating habits ultimately affect her eating habits. So sometimes you have to be the change you want to see in your kids. And that's not always easy because, like Ethan said, we feel like we're the parents. We get to call the shots now. But at the same time, if you want to be effective, you may have to make some changes and some shifts in your life, too, if you want those same things to be duplicated in your kids, be it finances, be it a mindset, be it a characteristic. You may have to take on that characteristic first before, you know, your child will begin to model it. And I agree that there are some things in this modern day we need to learn as parents, but there are some things that are not new under the sun.
That's true.
That you can relate to your kids on. Hey, I used to be, my son's 14. I used to be 14. I know what it feels like to be 14. And so I give him grace in a couple areas. Now, there are some no nonsense areas. You know, you have your chores, you take out the trash, that's non-negotiable. But there are some things that he's experiencing as far as the way he dressed, certain things he don't want to wear because it's just not cool in this day and age. And I'm like, what? That used to be the stuff when I was coming up.
Right.
Case in point, when I was coming up.
Right.
So
absolutely.
I don't buy that for him because I don't want him to be at school feeling like he's the person that's not accepted because my mom felt like I should have these when I told her that these are not acceptable at school. And so there are certain things we can do to help our kids along in their journey. And there are certain things that are just non-negotiable, but you have to be willing to look at it from their point of view and also not forget that you were once their age and the hormonal feelings you have and, you know, just all these things. And no, you don't want them to repeat the cycle. If you've had, you know, a cycle of, you know, a childhood that it wasn't so favorable, you know, of course you don't want them to repeat that, but you have to make those internal changes and shifts so that your kids model something different. I came to the realization one day when I couldn't understand why my oldest wasn't doing something or making a choice. I'm like, she's young. She doesn't have any kids. Why isn't she traveling? Why isn't she? And I'm like, newsflash, she didn't live the life I lived. She didn't have any kids young. She's doing life on her terms, and that's okay. And I just feel like for me, I would love to travel because I've been a parent since I was 18. So she's like, she's wild and free. She's not wild, but she has the freedom to do life on her terms. And that's what life looks like for her. And I had to step back as a parent and say, she's enjoying her life the way she feels like it should be enjoyed. And that's her right to do that. And it's not my right as a parent to force or to put or project my feelings on her in terms of
Mm-hmm.
how I feel she should live her life. So our relationship works a whole lot more when I step back and allow her to be who she is. She's a great young lady. She's a hard worker. She knows how to have a good time. So why am I then trying to force my opinions, my views on what I would do? If I was you, I would be doing this.
Because you're the parent.
But I'm not her, and she's not me, and her desires for her life is totally different than my desires at 22 years old.
Where do you think, and don't let me forget, I got to get to this point my uncle was saying, and something I want to talk about kids and taking out trash and their chores. I wonder where that breakdown occurs at. And if you out here, you listening, this is expression sessions. So we would love for you to express yourself, type in the comments, say what you feel. Where does that breakdown occur to whereas we go from loving and supporting and encouraging our kids from the time they're born to maybe middle school? And you go from love and support and the gold stars on your forehead and mama and daddy so proud, you my little angel, you can do anything, to when you hit about middle school, your parents shift. Maybe the kid don't, because the kid is the same. They trying to figure out life. They kind of rebellious to a certain degree, or they're looking to live life on their terms. They're looking to figure things out. So is that the point where we stop supporting them and telling them how great they are, and we start telling them that you need to go this route, the route that somebody told me was best for me, that I don't even like? You need to go to school. You need to get a good job and work for somebody for 20 or 30 years. Hear me out. I want my children to be able to take care of themselves. What I do not want, if I'm a person that's working at a job for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and I am miserable, and I am following the system or a system that's been put in place for me by society, my friends, my parents, my teachers, and most of them look or seem unhappy and they're snapping, why do I want that? So as a parent, I want to know, maybe I won't know, but I ask myself, where does a breakdown occur from where I stop supporting my kid and their wild thoughts and visions and dreams to where I'm steering my kid or attempting to control my kid into what I think is best? And I get that, people again, and it goes to my point, what my uncle said. He said, I think you shouldn't quote the Bible to your kids unless you fully understand what the scriptures are saying and what it means. And what it means. In other words, don't expect your kids to do what the word say if you don't.
Absolutely.
And that goes back to what I said earlier about parents will say, do as I say, not as I do. And then they would be quick to hit you with that quote where the Bible says, honor thy mother and thy father. Well, honor doesn't mean let you walk all over me and do everything that you say I'm supposed to do. That's not honor. That's not honor at all. When you look up the definition of honor in Google, it says high respect or great esteem. High respect or great esteem. It doesn't say follow your every word and become your puppet. It doesn't say that. And we take the Bible, as my uncle said, and we misconstrue the scriptures, because the scripture that I read in 2007, Psalms 23, about, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. When I read that in 2006, 2007, being in Iraq, it means something totally different to me now at 42 when I read it. Concept is basically the same, but the interpretation or how I get it, how it feeds me is different. If you don't have a clear relationship and a clear practice within reading your Bible, as my uncle said, or a relationship with a higher power, with God or Buddha or Allah, whatever your spiritual deity may be, if you don't have a relationship with him or her or whatever you call it, if you're not centered and who you are, how do we attempt to tell someone else? Like, a breakdown occurs. Our kids are our diamonds. They're our jewels. They're our rock stars when they're babies. But when they get about that middle school age, and maybe it's a change in them, it's a shift in them. But again, if you are the parent, you set the example. So this little monster that you have as a parent, guess who that monster been watching for the last 10, 12, 13 years? If you cuss out your mother, if you cuss out your sister, if you cuss out your brother as a child, I'm watching you. And then you tell me to be nice to my brother. You ain't nice to your own brother.
Right.
And I know I said a mouthful in the question that I asked, but that's really what I want to know. Like, as parents, at what point do we forget that we were once a child?
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. We may be smarter and we may know more to a certain degree. But there, to me, there's still no difference. In my child is a human with a brain of their own, and whether I want to believe it or not, the same God that I believe in, I'm teaching my children, and they probably believe in God, not the religious aspect, but the relationship part of it. And the way I believe in spirituality and a higher power, he created us all equal as individuals. You know what I'm saying? We all get the same measure of faith. The same God that protected me is the same one that's going to protect my kids. So I have to trust. I need to trust not just my kids and the predators of the world and society, but for my Christian folk, I need to trust this God or this spiritual deity that I say I believe in, that hears, sees, and knows all. If you gonna be a parent, then don't you have to look to your parent? If you a child of God, you have to look to Christ, how he says do it. I mean, well, I'm just being real here. Like, it's not the rough. Well, it is the ruffle your feathers. If they ruffle your feathers, then it must be something that's near and dear to you. But if we want to change the world, if we want society to move forward, if we want to build a better relationship with our parents or with our children, it's something that both parties have to do. The parent being a supervisor and the child being a subordinate. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
I believe that middle school is that age where they start to insert their independence. And before that, you have a lot of influence up to that point. You know, you decide what they're going to wear, you decide how they're going to, you know, wear their hair. You have a whole lot of influence until they get to like that middle school age, maybe even 5th grade. Mm-hmm. And then they start to say, well, I don't want to wear that, or I like my hair better this way. Derek? And then there becomes an introduction of them inserting their independence. And I believe that as we're training them to be functional adults, that it's okay to let them decide what they're going to wear to a degree. If I'm buying all their clothes, then I approve of what they're wearing, mm-hmm. because I purchased their clothes. So if they take something out of their closet, it's already approved by mom and dad. So, right. Hey, if you want to wear the yellow shirt today and not the green that I picked out, it really doesn't matter because I bought both shirts. So I'm approving mm-hmm. of, you know, what they're wearing. So I think it's good to a degree to let them choose and make choices, because when they get out here in life, they're going to have to make choices, and parents aren't always going to be around.
You're not going to always be around. You cannot.
I think it's healthy for them to make certain choices while they're still at home under the roof of their parents, where they can be guided. Mm-hmm. I would prefer that they talk to me about it than their peers. And I know that that's not always going to be the case, but as much as possible, I would like to foster this environment where they feel safe talking to me about whatever. And I don't think that comes about when you have this push and pull of authority. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't have to always be an authority. Yes, I am an authority because I'm the parent, but just because you have a right don't mean you always have to exercise mm-hmm. it. And if this is a training ground, not a battleground. So absolutely. I'm training you to be a functional adult. I want you to have the critical thinking skills. I want you to have cooking skills. I want you to be able to do certain things and do it within the environment of safety. Do mm-hmm. it here at home where you can say, well, this didn't turn out quite the way I thought it was. What do you think? Or how do you mm-hmm. think it should go? Or how does it go? I prefer to have those conversations while they're under my roof, as opposed to yes. Now they're out here running rampant, mm-hmm. and I have to figure out now how to change some behaviors that I let, you know, develop over time. And it's not to say that you don't interject or you don't step in, because we do have more of the wisdom because we live longer life, but there are some things that's just not worth the fight, you know?
Absolutely. I definitely know, for me, my parenting style won't work for most people because it probably goes against everything traditionally.
Right.
I mean, that traditional values that I was raised upon, brought up on, you know, taught and things like that. I was a kid who personally felt like I almost did what I wanted to do. I thought I had to be self-sufficient. And don't get me wrong, all the time I didn't. Some things I was just looking to see what it was like. I was exploring for myself. But what I learned and having some of the freedoms that I had in life, it forced me to learn both. It forced me to learn how to survive in the streets. It forced me how to survive in the corporate America, to carry myself more professional around certain people. And I don't believe I would have learned that being under my father's every lock and key, every move, every turn, because it's just some things as a parent, you're not going to be able to teach your child. Like earlier, you mentioned like taking out the trash and they doing their chores. I'm all good with kids having chores, but I've made it to the point now in my life to where I don't stress over my kids not doing their chores. Like this my house where I live. This our house. One day our kids gonna leave. I clean my own house. I'm not a full-time employee at a job or anything like that. And most parents, some parents are. You know, you might work an 8-hour, 6-hour shift. I don't know. You have time in the day. Mr. King of Patton Street, laugh out loud. Absolutely, I did what I wanted to do. Followed after my Uncle Tony. Sure did. Now, I ain't gonna put that on you. I was doing me. My uncle over here on Instagram said I did what I wanted to do. I did, and I turned out to be all right. God protected me. Anyhow, I'm not forcing my kids or going back and forth and fighting with our kids about cleaning up my house. I want my house to be clean, and I'm seem to be the only one that have a problem with it as a parent. Now, I got options. I can beat the crap out of my kids or whoop them for 2019 or time out for 2019 conversation. I can whoop their butt and talk to them about cleaning my house, and I can go through this every day. And how I know, because my dad used to come home sometimes every day after work and be like, why you ain't wash these dishes? He'll go to bed at night, and I'm supposed to do the dishes. I don't do them. He'll wake me up at 3 a.m. Why you didn't wash these dishes? I didn't do them. Now you waking me up to wash the dishes. Now your blood pressure all up and you mad. You got to go off and catch the bus to work. You got to drive to work, deal with your boss. I'm going back to bed, even if I got a whooping. My little whooping, that pain, I don't care what y'all parents say, that pain don't last all their life, okay? So my little whooping gonna last.
Some people it does. I'm a fan of whoopings. I'm just saying, but at this stage in their life, I feel like they're old enough to comprehend.
Absolutely.
And you can take stuff from them, or there are consequences, because you do want to teach that there are consequences for actions.
And I'm all about teaching.
But I hear what you're saying. There comes a point in time where you don't want this push and pull over over something as simple as chores. So you take something. Well, you won't be able to Fortnite it all day, or you won't be able to go outside with your friends because you haven't done this. This is a responsibility. Again, this is training, because when you get in the real world, when you don't take care of your responsibilities, there's a consequence.
Look, we talking about, for me right now, I'm really just talking about as simple as house cleaning, and I completely understand that. And I want to set them up to go off to keep a clean house and not a nasty house, to be tidy. What I'm saying to you, America, what I'm saying to you, world, Ethan Smith is not tripping and not arguing about his kids cleaning the house every day. I will get up and clean the house, because here's the thing. When your kids leave, you gonna repeat the same steps you was doing most of us while they was there. Right. So if your kids is the only one that clean your house, when they leave, you think, oh, when they leave, it's just going to be in order. I ain't going to have to clean that much. And you're not going to clean that much. And then things begin to pile up. Things begin to topple over. Things get dusty. And now you're just overwhelmed and you don't want to do it. So instead of me going back and forth and taking away the Fortnite from my son, taking away going outside from Zaria, taking away all those things, what I do is the same thing I did in the military. I lead by example. Right. Now, when I keep the house clean and my kids come in the house and they're like, oh my God, the house is so clean. They just want to lay down and relax. Right. When I say clean up your room, pick up your stuff, it's easier for them to listen to what I'm saying and do what I ask them. Why? Because I've trained them by my actions. Now, when you sitting in a nasty, dirty house and somebody asks you some mess, like take your shoes off at the door, you looking like,
Really?
And it's the
Really?
same concept when you think about it. When you talking to your child and you like, yo, go in there and clean up your room. And they like, okay, but you just asked me to go in your room to find your shoes and your room is a mess. And this might not be for y'all in 2019. This might not be for none of y'all. So if this message don't fit you, cool. Let it go through your ears. Stay on until you catch a part like a pastor preaching to you. I don't know. But for my parents out there that's looking for change, for my parents out there that's looking to build a better relationship with their children, for my parents that's looking for that, all I'm saying to you, all I'm asking you is to have a little heart. Think about when you was a child. Ask yourself this question. Did I do everything that my parents wanted me to do? Did I do that? And was some of it good? Was some of it bad? Yes and no. But did you do everything? You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to the grave with no headaches about how my kids cleaned or not. I know the foundation that I'm laying. I know what I'm showing them by my actions. Now, when you get grown and you get 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, if you got a filthy, dirty, nasty house, that's your problem. I don't have to come by there. I ain't even tripping on that. You don't live in my house no more. I've been cleaning now for 20 years. Right. I'm not worried about that. So that's why I say I don't go back and forth. It's not about my kids getting away with murder and you not showing them the right way and you just doing their chores for them. No, it's about Ethan controlling his mind, Ethan controlling his sanity, Ethan controlling his peace. I know I could go over there and beat my 14-year-old son up or whoop my daughter for not cleaning their room right away. Or I can lead by example. I clean my house. I clean my room. And when I tell the kids or I ask the kids to go clean theirs, they follow suit. When I think about train up a child in the way they should go, that's how I think about training up a child. When you train a child, you lead by example. Actions speak louder than words. If you're constantly telling your kids what to do, they're not paying us no attention. 65% of the world, according to Forbes, are visual learners. Our children are watching us. And as parents, we are the first line offense and defense for how we set their life up. And if you're getting wrapped up on trivial things such as do as I say, not as I do, why you disrespecting me? You can't ask me no questions. You know what you teaching your child? You're teaching your child then to me at that point not to ask questions, not to believe in their thoughts, their dreams, their visions, their ideas, because now you've stunted their growth and they're scared to talk about what they feel. They're scared to ask what they feel because the person that was supposed to support them the most and be the closest, the parents, we let them down.
Right.
What is it? 2019 and we tripping about these kids are so bad. They horrible. I don't know what their problem is. I do. It's their parents. It's us. Where they get it from? Where do we get it from? If you're the first line of offense and defense, where do your children get it from? You can't blame the schools. You can't blame society. You can't blame their friends. Because to me, in my mind, that all turns back on you. A kid is going to do exactly what they want to do. No doubt 100. My uncle just said it. I did whatever I wanted to do. I did. I take that. And as a parent, you cannot take that. But what you do have to take is the example that you lay down, the picture that you show. That is what your children will follow.
Right.
So that's I didn't took all your time up, but
was that a mic drop? You just were like, well,
they just knocked this thing down. But again, we're just talking about parenting today. And do you feel as if you're a good parent? Do you feel like you had good role models as parents? And how do you make that shift if you're not a good parent? Or for my good parents out there, please share with us some tactics, some tricks, some ideas, some things that you're using in order to have a successful relationship with your children. I think for us, one of the things that I learned, because we come from both sides of it. I'm definitely more hands-off of parenting. I'm a big threatener about whooping and all that stuff. And, I talk loud, but I ain't about that life. Like, you really got to push the buttons to get the whooping with me. But when you getting it, oh, you gonna get it. Okay, you gonna get it. like you really gotta push the button with me to get that. But with my wife, on the other hand, my children know if mom have to speak up, it's a problem because she don't speak up that often, and she not, she not.
I don't have no chills.
She not wrapped the tightest. Like everybody think it's me. I'm sweating just saying it over here right now. Like seriously, everybody think it's me, but my kids know mom don't mess around. When you ask for something, they get it done a little bit sooner than I do. But again, maybe that's because they honor you. I know they honor me, but they honor their mother, like the Bible says. Honor your mother and father so that your days will be long-lived. I know they honor their mother and father because one thing's for sure that I know about my kids, they know their mom will get them the shirt off her back, and she'll do anything and everything to make sure that they have what they ask for, what they want, or what they need. And I ain't talking about a bunch of gadgets and toys and things like that. I'm talking about the love and support and, the encouragement that they need. And that's how I know they rock with you. And that's how I know they honor you. Honor is one of those things that if you carry yourself in a way that you're respected, I think you don't have to ask anybody to honor you. It comes naturally. But if it's forceful, if you're forcing your way on somebody and you have to beg me to honor you, then maybe you're not doing something right for that honor.
Absolutely. And it's a two-way street. I know we often think that our kids aren't deserving of honor at, a certain stage in their life, but I honor my kids. I sit down, I listen to them. I want to know how that day is going. I want to know what they feel about certain things. And we talk about that. And I'm honest with them because, like I said, I never forget that I was a kid also. So I hear them out. Mm-hmm. And so when I asked them to do something, it's like, no problem, mom, because I did start off with the whooping. But then, as they're getting older, I just feel like a whooping doesn't solve everything at this stage in their life. So I'm doing more listening. I'm doing more talking. I'm doing more explaining to them things that they may not understand at this stage in their life. And so we have this relationship, this connection. And so when I ask them to do something, it's like, no problem, because they trust in me enough to know that if I'm asking them something, it's going to be something beneficial for them, or they can take it to the bank. If mom is saying doing this, I've built this relationship enough with her to know that, she's never going to ask me something that's going to be harmful to me. So I don't get a lot of pushback from my kids. I respect their space to a certain degree because this is, our home. But at the same time, I'm building a relationship with them beyond just I'm the parent. Mm-hmm. And no, I'm not trying to be their friend, but I do want to understand, the matters of their heart. What are they dealing with at school? Be it, there's the subject matters, be it different kids at school. My kids talk to me about the friendships, or, this little girl said something to me and I really don't understand why she's doing that. Well, let's talk about it. How did it make you feel? What was going on that they said that? And then I give them my wisdom on how I feel they should handle it. Mm-hmm. So it's not always about, me barking out orders. I really am concerned about their day. I really mm-hmm. do want to know how they're handling certain situations mm-hmm. and how I can help them, have a better day. So I think that the respect and the honor goes both ways. I don't just, make them, oh, that's just silly. You a kid, you don't know what you're talking about. Be seen and not heard was another mm-hmm. thing I heard a lot growing up. But my kids are smart. They're wise. They've come up with some things that made me go, wow, okay, mm-hmm. let's try that. And there are certain things and suggestions they've given in our household that we use today.
That's true.
So it just goes back to they have powerful minds, they have thoughts, they have wills and emotions, and I don't see anything wrong with taking it into consideration. Do I let them run our household? Absolutely not. But there's nothing
run
wrong with them.
all over because you got to get out. No,
there's nothing wrong with them exercising an opinion in a respectful manner. Now, you don't get hurt if you're not being respectful.
Absolutely.
You just out of order. But if they sit down, we have like a family time where we sit down and we're discussing whatever is on our mind, and they want something or they see a way we can do something different, we hear them out. and we may or may not implement it. But like I said, we have implemented some things in our household that have come from my children. So you just never know what things they might have. And like Ethan said, this 2019, they're in the know about, social media. They're in the know about certain things that could potentially help the family move along. So I'm always open to their thoughts and ideas, because I want them to be comfortable when they leave my household to make those decisions. And I don't have all the answers. Even at this stage in the game, I'm still learning. So as I'm learning, as I'm growing, I'm teaching, and I'm able to give wisdom, but also I'm still learning. I don't have all the answers. So,
and here's the thing. When you said something that's important, I'm still learning.
Absolutely.
I didn't understand why, and some people can understand this, or some people can agree. Like, think about it this way. When you were a child, when I was a child, I don't know, you did something, maybe kids, crayons, they draw on the wall.
Oh man, yes.
You about to beat the crap out of them. Somebody mad, somebody getting a whooping. You done draw on my good wall, nice white paint, somebody getting a whooping. Like, as a parent, your mother was about to tear you up for some people. Now let's fast forward 25 years. You 25, you done had your first child. Your child may be 2 or 3 years old. Your mama like 50 or 60 or something like that. This your kid now, same age as you was. Go draw on the wall. And you get ready to tear their butt up, and the parent like, whoa. The grandparent.
Like, no, let that baby be. It's okay.
It's
You're
okay.
like, what?
And here's the thing. You said something, though. As you get older, it's expected that you would mature. You would learn more. I believe I had a conversation with my dad in 2017 before I moved back to Texas and we reunited, right? And we were having a conversation, and he was talking to me about, some of his childhood and his upbringing. And I was hot. I was just letting him know, I get that. I respect that. But I'm your son, and we are your family. This is the family that you created. You know what I'm saying? Like, you created this, and it is on you to make sure that we solid and that we moving forward in the next direction. And I said to my father, I get it. I'm not even mad at you, and I don't mean this in a personal way. Your generation, my dad was born in 48. His generation, or the generation before him, not too far removed from slavery. And in our mindset, or close enough to slavery, I don't remember the year it ended. I know it ended early, maybe 1860s, but it really didn't end to like 1960, 1970 or somewhat, to where we were still fighting for equal rights and everything. But my mindset, my statement to him was, okay, I get it. His generation wasn't too far moved from maybe slavery and the civil rights movement. And the way they depict our people, how true it is or not, I'm not sure. But the way they depict our people, we always acted out of violence first instead of love. So our parents or our grandparents' mindset when I was coming up in the 70s might have been to whoop first, because that's what they was taught. Like, as slaves, if you didn't act right, you were beat. That goes back to that same concept. Train up a child, train up a person. How do you train? By showing them. And when you whoop, or you're whoop, you're beat, or you're talked down to, you in turn do the same thing to your children. And I was having that conversation with my dad, and I realized, you know what? I'm not mad or disappointed at my father at all. We come from two different eras of life. The way I look at things and the way he look at things is totally different. And as parents, you have to understand, although you may have been on this earth longer, although you may be smarter, some of us, although you may be wiser, some of us, although you may be more mature, some of them, because we all know, we may know, not all, we may know some children that's more mature or more responsible than their adult parents, and everybody not on drugs either. Just to say that, although you may be all these things and you may be more seasoned in life, what you are and what you have in connection with your child is you are a human being, and You answer to a higher spiritual power or a spiritual authority or the universe or whatever you call it, right? And you don't do always everything that lines up with that higher power. You don't do always everything that line up with your boss won't. Not your parent, but they're your overseer. They're the authoritative figure for the 8 hours. You don't do everything they want, but we expect our children just to toe the line, step in order, and be ready to go. You have to lead by example. If you want a good relationship with your children, if you want to build a strong relationship or a solid family, like this is the point of this whole message, why we sharing this with you about parenting. We have over 24 years of parenting, and for some that might be a lot, some that may not be enough. Had our first child. I had my first child at 17, my wife at 18 with my second daughter, our second child. We have a number of years in parenting and experiencing parenting. And what I've learned, and you can correct me if I'm wrong or not, what I want y'all to get and understand, if you really want, I remember that. My uncle said something, I'll touch on it in a minute. If you really want a good relationship with your children, if you want it to grow and to blossom as they get older, I believe it's 3 things that we must do. One, we must learn how to listen to our children. We must learn how to listen to understand, not just to respond. Yes. You know what I like? That's the real definition for me of communication. Listening to understanding. Although you are the parent, you still have the responsibility to listen to understand your child who you're helping to develop and train. Number 2 is you can't judge them. You should not judge. I mean, again, that's biblical. Do not judge, or you too will be judged in the same measure that you use to judge others. That isn't just for your friends. That's for your children, your spouse, your boss, your co-workers. So I don't believe we should judge our children. For my daughter, Tredesa, she wanted to get tattoos and piercings way before I wanted to get that. I was like 24, 25. When she turned 18, she like, Dad, take me to the tattoo shop. And I was fine with her, like, okay, cool, let's do it. I don't want to judge you, because here's the thing. I wanted that too, but it wasn't popular then. So don't judge your child. Learn to listen to them. Don't judge them. And the third and most important thing I think that we need to do as parents, if we want to build a solid relationship with our children, if we really want to help our children grow and be successful in life, not just financially successful for mentally, whatever success is to them. How do you do that? You completely be honest with them. You be honest. There's no need for you to sugarcoat life for your children. I don't believe. Now, I'm not saying you have to tell them all your dirty, deep secrets. That's completely up to you how transparent you want to be. But when it comes to things such as school, for example, my son struggled with school a little bit. My daughter Zaria struggled for school a little bit when I first got here. I was just real. I was honest. Like, Dad sucked at school. Like, I got all F's and D's. I wasn't the best person coming up. I made certain decisions. I was honest with my children. And when you are honest with your children, just like when you're honest with your spouse, what it does, it gives them a comfort and a freedom to know that, okay, this is a safe landing zone. This is a safe place. This is somewhere that I could bring my hurts, my fears, my thoughts, my visions, and my dreams. This is somewhere that I can land safe. If we do not provide that as a parent, how dare I or us or we, how dare we have the audacity to be disappointed in something that we think our children fall short in? If you're not setting an example, you know what I'm saying? If you're not setting an example, the Bible, and it could be, this may not fit, but it takes me back to the Bible in Ephesians where it says, fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath. You know, do not aggravate your children to wrath. If you're not setting a good example, again, you're saying do this, you know, do as I say, not as I do, but I'm doing something completely opposite. That's going to piss anybody off. You telling me to clean my room up, you whooping me and you jumping down my back for cleaning my room up, and then I go in your room to find something and I gotta crawl through stuff. You know, I'm being real. That would piss me off. that would provoke me to wrath. That would provoke me to want to argue. That would have provoked me to not want to clean. Like, you have to take ownership in the part that you play as a parent, because again, you are the first line of defense and you are the first line of offense when it comes to your child.
Right.
So, I mean,
What is he saying?
I mean, I only had one spanking growing up when I left Ricky at the mall. Yeah, I remember hearing about that, Uncle Tony. One spanking was like a lunch break for me, I think. I got one spanking anytime I could think about it. I was so cold with it. I got enough whoopings to where I slipped up and I told my dad, I'm like, hey, he was going to put me on punishment. And I'm saying, can I just get a whooping so I can go back outside? Because he knew punishment was the end of the world for me. But again, that came from his parenting style. Even though he wasn't at home as much as I wanted him to be, he was home enough to realize that keeping him in the house, keeping EJ in the house, as they call me, keeping him confined, that would hurt him more than this whooping. And as a parent, you have to know what makes your kids tick. You have to know what makes your kids go. Like, you need to know what turns the screws. Like, that's a mini me. That's a mini you. In all actuality, your kids are a mini you. You'll see a lot of things you like and dislike in your children. But if you are setting that good example, you are laying the foundation for what, your kid's supposed to be.
Right. For what you aspire to instill in them. And I guess I want to touch a little bit on, whoopings, because I believe that they're necessary, but it's not a one size fit all.
No.
Like, that's not the discipline for everything, because when they're younger, it seems like the spankings is the only thing they hear. But as they get older, there should be, I guess I want to say there should be a progression from, just beating them all the time till, you can, if you know your kids, you know what you can take away or what you can do for them to have a consequence for an action. So the Bible does say you spare the rod, you spoil the child, but I don't think that it fits every situation. But there are those times where, talking it out ain't working, and hey, it just is what it is. But I feel like for me as a parent in this stage of my life, I'm doing less whooping and I'm doing more of just looking for other ways to do consequences, because I don't, like I said, I don't have a lot of pushback with my kids. So I'm finding that I'm not whooping them as often as I did when they were younger. Now I can just, hey, you can't go outside, or you won't be able to do this, and that seems to be suffice. So it's okay to tweak your methods.
Absolutely.
To fit the stage in life that they're in. Everything doesn't warrant a whooping. And so you have to ask yourself, am I am I just, looking to beat them every chance I get? Or, is this really a lesson in, there are consequences to every action? So,
and I think some parents, sometimes my Uncle Tony said, as a Black woman, all you need is the look and your kids will know. And
absolutely, Uncle Tony. I have the look. That's why Ethan said
her husband too, Uncle Tony. I go sit out.
You raise your voice and look a certain way, and they like, okay,
what's going on, Victorino?
We just went from fun to seriousness, and I have it. I must admit, I have it. I have a voice. I have a look, and hey, I mightn't be inclined to have something in my hand. May or may not. I'm just saying, but it works. Me. It works. Okay, I don't always have to be around here turning over tables. Sometimes it's just the look that gets them. So,
that's true.
But you build up to that.
But I wonder if what some of the issue could be with some parents is they have inconsistencies in themselves. And now if I see something that looked like an inconsistency, in my child, it angers me or it raises a fear because it's something that I didn't accomplish. Case in point, school was a big thing for me. I was horrible in school when I was our son's age. Our son is smart.
Super smart.
Our son is super smart, but he has certain struggles in school and it confuses me and I don't understand why when he's so smart. And I think I get a fear because I struggled in school and I didn't push my way through and I would be on top of him. And I realized last year, the more I was on top of my son about his grades, the worse his grades got. How does that happen? I'm all over it. I want to sit down and do homework. You are adding unnecessary pressure and stress. All you have to do is learn how to listen, don't judge, and be honest. I just told my son this year, you already know what the rules are, man. If you think you coming in this house and playing Fortnite and your grades and your room is not together, forget about it. I don't put you on punishment. I don't take anything away from you. You give it to me. And I think by me dropping the ball when I was 14 years old, I was already casting my fears upon him of him dropping the ball. And I think a lot of parents do that just because you dropped the ball or your life didn't turn out the way you planned it. Now you dreaming through your child and they about to set you up and let you down. And here's another thing. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah. This goes for the parents and this goes for the child. If you an adult age, male or female, and you married, like not shacking up, not common law marriage. If you married, like spiritually, biblically married, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I don't know. If you marry, it clearly says in the Bible at that point, a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and the two should become one. So parents parenting a parent, I get it. You giving them wisdom, but your job as their parent is, I ain't gonna say it's null and void, it's over, but your job, if you talking to your son or your daughter who is married at this point in time, my kid called me and they get married and he like, Dad, my wife tripping. Can I come to? Nah, you better go figure it out. Because you got to cleave to your wife. And as a parent, we sometimes get in the middle of our son's or our daughter relationship. Oh, I don't like your wife. I don't like your husband. And I'm going to have to get them in order. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ain't you the same person that said you was Christ-like? You must not be reading your Bible like Uncle Tony said. And then you mad at your parents because you saying, well, the word says honor your mother and father. But the word also says wives and husbands are to become one with a significant other. Nobody comes before that. Nobody comes before the Lord and then my wife. How does that work out when the parent is attempting to parent someone who's already married, who's already moved on in life? And now you still want me to follow your rules, but I got a husband or a wife and God rules I'm supposed to follow. Because see, parenting for some of us don't stop at 18. For some of us, parenting times 10 start at 18. You think they need you more now than they needed you before. When they needed you, you missed them. When they needed you, when they wanted you, when they were kids and you was a superhero, you missed them. But now that they found someone else to get a time to, a husband, a wife, someone that God said they're supposed to cleave to, now you want to own them in a time and you disappointed when they don't give it to you and you get mad at their significant other? Speak on that. Speak on that. This expression sessions with Mr. P. Please type in, express yourself. I'm going to have some fun with this because I want to know what y'all think as parents. How has your parenting style helped you? How has your parenting style hindered your relationship with your child? Do you care? Do you not care? I know it's a crazy question to ask. Sometimes they don't care. I don't care sometimes. Sometimes I care. I'm just being real. But how does that effect work? You know, now you're married, you're 25, 26, you got married to someone, and now I'm still trying to follow my wife's rules or my husband's rules along with my mom's rules and my dad's rules, and I'm all confused. Indeed. I'm all confused. Quiet moment, crickets. You got nothing.
Well, you know, our girls are still young, and we don't really interject ourselves in their lives like that. When they call and they want our time, I give them their space. I'm here for them, and I don't push like that. If they call me, I give advice in that moment, and I'm like you. I redirect them. Well, they're not married currently, but so I just give them advice, and hey, I kind of give them a "you got it" speech, and I let them do it, because if I'm always giving them my pearls of wisdom and I never allow them to make some decisions on their own, then I feel like they're not really growing much. I feel like they're just, you know, they're looking to me to be the answer for everything, and there are just certain things in life that they have to go through. So of course you can give them your guidance. We're on the other side of parenting now, so you can just be real. Hey, in my relationship, this is how I handled it, or this is how, you know, I've learned that this might work better. And then I say, but you got this, you know, follow your heart, do what you think is best, but consider that other person. It's not always about us. And I just feel like as a parent, parenting a older child or a now young adult, that it's not my responsibility to now think I can run their life because I'm their parent. Like I'm calling them every day, like, what you doing? Where you from? Who you with? What you got? I just think that's invasive. And I want to be a help. I want to be a support system, but I don't want to be the parent that's always like in their business. I care about my daughter. I pray for her. I don't have to know her every move. I pray for her. And like Ethan said in the beginning, I trust that the same God who keeps me is keeping her. So I don't have to always be in the know what's going on with her per se. I do want to hear her voice. So I'll text her, I'll call her just to hear her voice, but I'm not always in her business on every move she make. Like, oh, you should get this job. Oh, you should go here. You should go there. This is her life. So I think there's a point in time where we do have to let go and just, you know, be a support system and not necessarily continue on parenting. So when does it end if you never give them the space, or if you never give them the platform to implement what you taught them? Because I feel like what I instilled in my 22-year-old, I didn't have a lot of say in a 24-year-old. I love her dearly, and I'll give her advice as well. But I know my 22-year-old, what I instilled in her and what I modeled as a parent, I trust that that is going to keep her and sustain her. And the proof is in the pudding. She don't call me often for advice. And when she does, she take it and she like, okay, Mom, great, thank, love you, bye. And she's gone. Okay. She don't call me like that on the regular, like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, or I'm having a crisis. So I know that it works. I trust that what God gave me to give her as she was growing up, the love, the support, is gonna sustain her and her life right now. And I understand that as a 22-year-old, she's got a lot to figure out. And I'm here to support that. I'm here to keep her prayed up. I'm here to give her love. She comes by, I still kiss and hug my 22-year-old. What? Yes. I still hug her. I still kiss her. I still tell her I love her. I still tell her that I'm proud of her. It doesn't stop. She needs that from me, I feel. I give it to her, and she gets that love from me, and she's gone. I don't hear from her for months sometimes, and I have to call and hear her voice, and we hook up, we get together. But I know that at 22, she's learning, she's growing, she's trying to figure some things out, and she don't need the stress of me as her parent still trying to parent her in this season of her life. I just trust what I instilled and what I modeled, and I have to say it's working. She's never in any trouble. She has the fun that's fun to her, and she works. She's a great worker. So I have no complaints as a parent. I don't feel like I have to continue parenting her. I think when we set our children up for success, we don't have to continue parenting. We just have to trust what we put in there, and be a support system. If they call you for something, if you can give them that wisdom or point them in the right direction, then why not do that? But what is your goal as a parent? My goal is to train and send them off into this life successful. It's not for me to do this forever. It's not for me to just hang on and parent them forever, because I have a life, and I have things I enjoy. So when my parenting season is over and all of my children are gone, then I plan on doing some things for me, some travel. And
I ain't
so
waiting till
I'm
they
not-
dead. Better start living your life now.
So I'm not in the parenting business to be parenting forever. I want to
Well-
have a season where I switch to. Now I'm there. I can
Confidant?
confidant, yeah. And I'm just here to help in any way I can, but I'm not here to continue parenting them on and on and on. And I don't know why it is that parents do that or feel the need to do that. I'm not really sure because I don't I don't
Right.
really,
We do this all the time,
I'm
Uncle
not
Tony.
really-
She says she's not a talker.
I'm not doing that. So I don't understand why parents do it. I don't have an answer. Do you?
No, I don't.
Oh.
But one of the things I think parents, maybe why they do it, because they miss it. And what do I mean by they miss it? You miss the success that your child is already having and that you implemented and that you ordered them or pushed them or drove them to do. You miss the small success that they're having because they don't have the success that you vision.
That's good.
So what do I mean by that? Our daughter today, so she's 22. She like, I'm smart. I'm rocking 3.0s all through high school, AP classes. I'm doing this. I want to go to college, but not really. I don't want to go to college. I can do it academically. It's just not for me. Now here it is at 22 years old. She has a regular job downtown, you know, Austin or whatnot, but she's also starting a photography business. She's also doing costume jewelry. She's got her own apartment, and she doesn't really call us about money for gas, money for groceries, money for bills. She doesn't call us for any of those things. So what I see is the work that my wife put in, the work that I've put in, the work that we've put in together, mainly more so her than me, if I have to be honest. The work that we've put in, it's already paying off. And now you see the success on the other end. So it's like, now I need to just celebrate your success.
Yeah.
I text my daughter, Tanae, Saraya, and Tradesa like 3-4 times a week in the morning. When I had an iPhone, it was like every morning. But I would text them encouraging messages. Hey, have a good day at school. I love you. I'm proud of you. You can do anything you put your mind to. I'm proud of you. I rock with you. Like, keep believing in yourself. So these are the messages that I would send them. I seen that the success that they already have is good for their level.
Yes.
And we get mixed up in a point to where we don't see their personal success because it's not the success we wanted.
Okay.
And it strains the relationship. Case in point, my little niece, love my older sister to death. Love my oldest sister to death, Rochelle. I feel like she did a great job to me as raising her children from what we came up with.
Yeah.
Now, her daughters might feel different. But where the issue comes in at to me is my oldest niece, love her to death, Latanya. To me, she's already successful doing her thing. Everything that her mama tried to keep her away from the boys and the guys and the bad jobs and all that, I feel like, okay, yeah, you went through some of those little bumps, but she made it.
Yeah.
But I think, love my sister to death, I don't think her mother sees her success. So she's still attempting to parent her as if she's a 14 to 18-year-old little girl instead of a 30-something-year-old grown woman who has success as an entrepreneur, who has success as a business owner, who has success in school, who has a successful relationship right now. It's like, how do you not see the success that your children are having and celebrate that as opposed to looking at what they didn't do or what they don't have because of what you thought? You are keeping a relationship with your children trapped in your past based off of your feelings. Like yesterday is gone. You can't do anything with it.
Yes.
Tomorrow's not promised. The child that you birthed, that you gave life, that God called upon you to bring into this earth, however you want to look at it. If you have a strained relationship with them based on the differences, to me, in my mind, in Ethan Small's mind, it is never a child's responsibility to fix the relationship with their parent. I didn't ask to be here. I don't care if you didn't want me or not, and you didn't want me to be here. You did the act and committed to act for me to get here.
Right.
Now I'm here, and you need to figure out how we make this work. Tanae, my oldest daughter, I didn't have a relationship with her until she was almost in high school. Fortunately for me, she started reaching out to me first. But once she started reaching out and I start answering those hard questions, now I reach out to her on a regular basis to keep that solid foundation that we have.
Right.
Now, you have to see your children where they are at now. You have to celebrate the success that they have for themselves. As a parent, I feel like my job is not only to train you and to teach you, but to encourage you, to support you, not attempt to change your mind and tell you what doesn't work because it don't work for me. Not attempt to tell you don't go get that job. Don't be a dancer. Don't be an actor because it does not work. No, that's your fears.
Right.
That's not your child fear. So you have to step back and allow your child to celebrate their own success or, revel in their success or in their failures. You have to be supportive on both ends and encourage them to keep going. And I think that's something that's very important. It's a little bit of jealousy because she wished it was her, but she has to remember that she's the woman she's ready to be because of her.
That's so true.
Oh, yeah. She sees it.
Comment says that, the mom of the 32-year-old, she sees the success of the daughter, but she's a little bit jealous because she wishes it was her. But she has to remember that the young lady, the 32-year-old, is who she is because of her. And I think
agree.
That's, where parents miss it at. My success on my terms is because of my upbringing being good or bad.
Foundation.
It's the foundation of where I started. So it may not look like how you wanted it to look, but as long as they're, they're healthy, they're doing something productive, it's their lane. It's still a success. And
so what you're saying is I can't be an absentee parent, and then when you make it to the professional, I come in and say I did all the work.
People do it all the time.
I'm just being silly, but
people do it all the time, and that's a whole different.
That's a different topic, But for parenting today.
But for parenting, you have to realize if you put the work in, it may not look like what you wanted it to look like. And I agree with Uncle Tony. I think that sometimes we want to live through our kids and I missed my chance. So maybe, just maybe, my child have the same talents and gifts that they can do that.
That's good.
Case in point, football. My son is so talented, athletic, but he prefers to use his mind. He's not really into athletics. Like right now, he's thinking about basketball. But there was a season in football where he was killing it. Like he was really good, and he was doing it for his dad. And he just stopped doing it because he didn't have a love for it. He was only doing it to bond with his dad.
At 8, he retired.
Yes, his dad was a little disappointed because it was a dream of his dad's, but it wasn't a dream of our son. So you have to kind of let that go if you want to maintain a healthy relationship with your child. You can't live your dreams through them. You missed it, unfortunately. Sometimes we have those kids that'll have the same passions as us, and we can watch that thing unfold. But unfortunately, for a lot of us parents, our kids are like, that's great, mom, that's great, dad, but that's not really my thing. Like I said, my son is a rock star with football, but that's not just because he's good at it. That's not where his mind is. He's a hands-on, fix-it kind of guy. He's got a mechanical engineer kind of mind. He likes problem solving. He likes taking stuff apart and putting it back together. That's his jam. So you have to, if you know your child, that, hey, I can't live my dreams through them because they have different interests and they have different things they're doing. And so I agree. I think that's where the big disappointment comes in at, because we have all these expectations. They're going to be doctors. They're going to be making this kind of money. They're going to live this type of lifestyle. And when it don't happen, then you set up for failure. And I think when I was raising my oldest daughter, I let all that go. Like, this is your life. I'm in support of you. I see things in you, but I'm going to steer you in those things so you can kind of develop them. But where you take it from there is between you and God. Because if I don't, then I become the crazy parent and I'm calling you and I'm like, did you apply for this? Did you go here? Did you go there? And now they avoid my calls because they're like, really, Mom? I told you I didn't want to do that. But since you see these things or you don't see them, you just kind of like, you gonna do this because I missed my chance and then somebody got to do it, then you miss an opportunity to build with your kids.
It's so important. Like, I mean, not even get all spiritual and deep because I know everybody's not there and I'm not a super religious person. I just believe in a higher relationship with God. And most people look at God as their father. And it's like, if that relationship was turned away from you, when you got super drunk, when somebody lost their life, you was in an accident, you about to get robbed, your husband, your boyfriend, your wife, somebody cheat on you. We've all had those moments to where we cried out to a higher power, God, the universe. Oh, Lord, if you would help me, I'm so drunk. Oh, Lord, if they would just stop beating on me. Oh, Lord, if I could just get a better job. Oh, Lord, if they would just understand. We all call on or most of us, not all, most of us may call on some type of higher power, whether it be God, Buddha, Allah, head of lettuce, Popeye's chicken sandwich. I don't know. You call on something. And if that authoritative figure who you look at as the parent, who you look at as a support, is not there to help you in your time of need, you're not going to feel comfortable trusting them anymore. So if God didn't bring you through, if Buddha didn't bring you through, if Allah didn't bring you through or make you still feel loved as their child or make you feel loved in this relationship, you're going to have a tendency not to go to them anymore. And it's the same thing. Just because you birthed me don't mean I'm coming to you with all of my issues, my problems. It doesn't mean that I don't honor you, because honor means to show respect and esteem. It just means that I may not feel that comfortable with sharing my thoughts, my opinions, my decisions, because every time I do, you might shoot me down based off of your fears. And I'm not looking to tear parents down. I got 5 kids and I wasn't the perfect parent. But what I understand and I realize and what I learned from my kids and through my kids, that it's only for me 3 things that's going to make it work. It's going to be my listening to them, shutting my mouth, and I can talk. You see me. Listen to them, not judging them for what they want to do, and to be honest with them about where I was, where I'm at, and maybe where I'm looking to go, and knowing that it's okay to go through all those steps in life. Parenting, like my wife said, she don't want to be parenting forever. And I know and I understood what she mean, but I would take that and flip it to the other side. I think parenting does last forever, but the way you parent doesn't have to last forever. When they're younger, if you have young children, you're definitely more hands-on. Mm-hmm. The older they get, the more, hopefully, if you were a good parent, the older they get, the more your hand should be taken off.
Absolutely.
Because now you've taught them, as my wife do, how to do the laundry, how to clean their room, how to wash the dishes, how to cook dinner. How do you do that? You train up a child. You train them by how? By practicing and showing them, as well as talking and teaching. Yes. So you train up a child in the way they should go. And as they get older, if you, to me, are doing good parenting work, as your children get older, you should have more of your time back and they should require less of your time. Case in point, our 22-year-old Tradesa not calling us, my 24-year-old Tanae not calling us, not unless it's something serious. Right. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not at that stage in your life, then you might have to go back and ask yourself as a parent, am I doing everything in my mind that I see to be right as a parent for my child? I don't care what society say. I don't care what nobody else say. And if the answer to your question, that personal question, is not yes for you, then it's something that you need to do. We can always improve. Yes. You know, we can always improve. And again, the reason I believe that grandparents seem so loving and caring and giving to the kids and not as quick to whoop and easy to listen, because now they're older and they're wiser and they understand maybe the way that I did it is not the only way it's supposed to get done. Right. You know, Uncle Tony said, I need the shirts you guys have on. How can I get them? you can go to www.wordpress.mrpeen.com and you can click on the Mr. P.I.E.N icon in the top left-hand corner. Well, actually, it'll come across apparel. You can click on apparel, and then it's a order form down there for you to put your shirt size in, color, right? Color. And whether you want a hooded sweatshirt or a t-shirt. So right now you can check at
Mr. P.I.E.N. I think it's Mr. P.I.E.N.wordpress.
Okay, so Mr. P.I.E.N.wordpress, and I'm getting to the point. Mr. P.I.E.N.wordpress.com right now. Come next Wednesday, it's just going to be straight MrP.com. Drop the WordPress. It's something different when you purchase your domain name. You can go to my website, or you can send me a text message, or you can send me an instant message on Facebook, which I probably shouldn't be doing because I'm taking it and turning it more professional. But Uncle Tony at this time, or anybody else, you can shoot me a message on Facebook, but I would much rather you go to my website at www.mrp.wordpress.com. Go to apparels tab, click on the apparel, and then just fill out the information. Is an order form or invoice form for PayPal, how to pay, and all those things. And currently right now, you can only get the Mr. P.I.E.N t-shirt, not the show up, the blow up t-shirt. This is the first shirt that I ever had created. But now that somebody's asked about it, if you order it, I will personally get it made for you, and I'll add it to the inventory list, the items list. So as a parent, I'm not my uncle's parent, but I did just listen and process what he said. And as a parent, you have to learn how to listen. You have to learn how to process. It's crazy to think, as my Uncle Tony said, that a parent can get jealous of their kid, but hey, it happens. People fall short of their goals and their dreams and their visions and their aspirations daily. And if you see someone such as your child who you think or you believe you raised, you did all that pouring into, all that supporting and all that motivating in, and they make it and you feel like it's supposed to be yours, that's the wrong idea. I believe as a parent, we're supposed to be supportive. We're supposed to be loving and caring, and actually not just pushing them, but showing them and help them to structure the life that they want. And when they call you, they're not calling to be punished. They're calling for support. Most of the time they're calling for love. Children still want to hear from their parents that, hey, I love you, it's going to be okay. Indeed. You know what I'm saying? Even I don't know any personal thugs that's locked down like that right now who cried out for their mom, but I done watched enough documentaries and enough shows and heard about people, who go to jail and get locked up. They just want their mom or their dad, their pastor, somebody to put their arms around them and tell them that it's gonna be okay. As a parent, your first line of offense, your first line of defense is to support your child, to love your child. Learn how to listen to your child and not judge your child. Be honest with your child. If you truly want to activate a great relationship with your child, then you have to start taking the steps forward and treat your child as an adult or a human being or as an individual that they are. Learning that as a parent, you can step back from your parenting roles so much when they get older and learn how to start to connect with them. Not be their best friend, but learn how to be friendly if you want to build a relationship. Hey, Dayla, what's going on with you, Dayla?
Right. But and to the parents, it's never too late. If you still have that dream in your heart, go for it, especially if you're an empty nester. Oh my God, you have so much time now. You can do that thing. Or if you do have your kids, get somebody to watch them and go do that thing that's in your heart to do. It's not too late just because you have kids. You had a life and you had dreams before you have them. And yes, now you have to do it a different way, but it's not over for you. You still have life in your breath in your body. You can still go for that thing that, is in your heart. So you don't have to live through your kids. You can live your own life, and it makes it, easier for everybody.
Would you waiting on me to say something?
No, I'm being nosy.
Stop
I'm like,
nosy.
what is he typing?
I'm typing in my web address.
But yeah,
ain't that right?
Yes, but for like I said, for the parents, it's never too late. You can go back to school. You can become, whatever it is your heart's desire was before your kids came along. And,
how that come up like that?
I think that
You did that?
Yes, babe. I
Hey,
set that
now.
up.
Hey, now.
You can still become, whatever it was your heart's desire was, so it's never too late. When we
Okay,
think
look at
about
me. Look at me.
Colonel Sanders.
62 years old, frying chicken.
So, hey,
I don't eat a lot of fried chicken anymore, but
don't
62
give
is
up
never
on
too
it.
late.
Like I said, especially if you're an empty nester, now you have more time than ever. But if you do still have kids, get a babysitter or, think of a way that you can incorporate them into it. And then that way you can still keep on going. Because I was going to school, and I had, my desire was to get my bachelor's degree and eventually go back for my certification. I have kids, so it was, I had just found a way to get it done. So you don't have to stop living because you have children. You can still reach your own dreams and goals. And yes, it may take a little more time because you have another person dependent on you, but hey, you can still get that thing done. And maybe that'll take the stress off of you and your kid because now you have your own life to live and they can live theirs.
Most parents are their kids' superhero, whether you want to believe it or not. Most kids are their parents' first hero. Like, I remember when my son Zachary was younger and we stayed in Austin and I was outside, my wife's car wouldn't start, the old Durango. And I'm like, oh, it's probably the battery. And I went outside and I popped the hood and I started messing around with stuff. And make a long story short, I got the car started. And I remember my son saying to me like, man, Dad, you could fix anything. Like, you could do anything. And that was such a proud father moment to me because even though I don't always do everything that I think of, and I doubt myself sometimes, I'm just being real. I've been telling my wife since high school, like, yo, I can do anything I put my mind to. Like, if I really want to get it done, if I want to get it, I'm going to get it. And as a parent, seeing that and my son feeling that way about me as a man, it was so inspiring. It was heartwarming. Like it was cool. And now fast forward maybe 10 years later or 8 years later, at 14, my son adopts that same concept. I could do anything. And what I mean by that, school might not be his jive all the time. But if the Xbox we had was broken for like 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months his Xbox did not work. But he had a new Nintendo Switch that he was on. And one day his Nintendo Switch was down for some reason. So this Xbox that had been sitting there for 6 months, he took it completely apart, repaired it, and got it to start working again. I'm like, oh, okay. So you could do whatever you want to do too. You just need the right encouragement. You need the right motivation in order to get it done. Now I watch him take apart remote controls for his games and any little thing that he needs to get working. I'm not saying that's just because of me, but I know I play a part in what I influence him to believe he can get done based off of what he's seen me do. Training our children is not about just our words. Words are powerful. Words are good. But I said before, words are nothing. Action is everything. Don't tell me, but show me. Show me what it means to be a good parent. Show me what it means to be a good mother. Show me that you care about me and you understand what I'm into. Come to my dance recital. Not just come to my dance recital because you getting off work and you got to pick me up. Come to my dance recital because you engage. You want to support me. You want to clap. You want to bring me flowers. Come to my poetry thing because it's what I'm into. Yes. Come to my hockey game. My wife didn't like football. She was the biggest cheerleader for our son out there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm just real talk. So when you talking about being a parent, when you talking about shepherding someone else into life, if that stewardship, if that doesn't work outright, you have to look in the mirror and ask yourself why. Yes, kids are going to buck up against the system. That's what we do. We humans, we looking to discover life on our own terms. It's not to be disrespectful. They gonna buck the system. But if you the parent and you the super smart one and you the super wise one behind all years and you know all and done all and be all, why in the hell are you the one that's uptight and stressed out when you got the wisdom how to navigate this situation? I tell my kids, I ain't tripping. You go outside. That don't got nothing to do with me. That's up to you. This is the only thing that's required though. If you don't want to do that, I'm good whether you go either way or not.
Right.
My son comes to me, Dad, I'm gonna be taller than you. I'm gonna be taller than you. Cool. I don't care. Be better than me in life. How do I show him that though? I put the work in. I put the work in so he'll have something to strive for besides being taller than me. As a parent, you have to put the work in. And I'll take a pause after this. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, and shout out to my friend who called me and brought me into the MS booth, you know what I'm saying, to talk to some people with multiple sclerosis. He's just like, I see you being real inspirational and I like what you do. And I was telling my cousin about you and I was just wondering if you can give him some words of encouragement. And I'm like, yeah, sure, dope. I'm honored. Like, I'm flattered that you asking me this. And I did it. And as the conversation went on, he was saying, yeah, I tell my, my daughter and my children the importance of doing this and taking these steps and doing that. And I'm like, yo, it's not what you say to them, man. It's not what you say at all. It's what you do. Like, you're telling me you want to do speaking and you want to be a speaker. Like, you have to tell yourself that you have to stop telling yourself you're trying to do it. Like, he was already doing it on his level. And then you have to keep doing it. You have to set goals for yourself. You have to knock those goals out. And your kids need to see you doing those things. You cannot, or you should not, just tell them what they need to do if you're not doing it. And then after I told him that, man, it's what you show him, it's not what you say, he just was quiet. He was like, man, you just hit me with something I ain't even think about. And we don't think about that. We get so wrapped up in doing it the way our parents did it. We get so wrapped up in the way our grandparents did it. We get so wrapped up in the way our friends are doing it or what society says parenting is. Society gives you a lot of things and they give you a lot of books on parenting. But one thing society can't give you is a book for parenting your kids, because everybody's kids is different. Yes. Now, it may be some things in that book that apply, but no book is going to be the 100 surefire way to parenting 101. And anybody that's a parent watching this, anybody that's babysitted somebody else's kids that they couldn't wait to send home, know that no book, no video, this show is not going to give you everything that you need to be a great parent. But what I'm hoping, and maybe my wife will agree, what I'm hoping to give you as a parent is some tools for your tool bag that I have used, that we have used, that has worked for us to have a strong relationship with our children. People want to change the world, and that's great. That's admirable. I'm one of those people. What I realized, though, you will not, and I don't use the word can't often, but I'm going to say you will not and you cannot change the world if you don't start changing the world that you are a part of, that you live in. What am I saying? If you don't change yourself, how can you expect to change anyone else? So if you're going to parent another child, you need to start parenting yourself first. You need to start taking responsibility for yourself first. So,
Agreed.
Good. Thank you.
Well, I approve this message.
You approve this message? Listen, man, you just got to get out there and you have to JBY. You have to just be you. You have to allow your parenting style to grow and to flourish and it becomes what God, the universe, Buddha, Allah, your spiritual deity, higher power, or whatever you believe in, or who do you seek for guidance. But it's nothing wrong with asking your parents and your aunties and your grandmothers, but you are going to have to determine what parenting is for you and your child based off of your connection and your relationship. Because trust and believe, not in a negative way or a super positive way. The relationship with my wife and our daughter Tradesa is different from the relationship with my wife and her mother. Not saying either one is bad, not saying either one is stupendous through the roof. What I'm saying is they're different because the people are different and the times in which the people came up in are different. You have to treat the people according to somewhat the times that you in and what they understand, if that makes sense. No, not really, but anyhow.
I guess the wording is off for me.
Well,
not,
put it
not
back on
necessarily
then.
the timing in which they're in.
Put the
but
word on then.
the timing in which you're in.
Yes.
Maybe.
Well, no, the time. What I mean by the timing
I
that they're
guess I
in,
don't
because you're
understand.
attempting to parent them based on the way you were brought up 20, 30 years ago.
Okay.
So you, no offense, parents, you're
Right.
not the one in the know. The world is not. I'm 42. You 40. They not creating products and gadgets to appeal to us.
Right.
We the parent. They want your kids.
Yes.
They want the
Because
younger
Because
generation.
they know that your kids will influence you to make certain purchases.
So you got to
they target
learn
them. So you have to learn.
at the level that they own and understand how to communicate with them.
Yes.
You don't have to like everything they saying.
Right.
But if you learn their language, then you at least know how to be in the conversation.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying?
You have to be open to it.
You have to be open to it.
I understand now. You have to be open to
it. Well, it's been another wonderful Saturday expression sessions, and we would like to thank you for tuning in with Ease and Keys, Mr. P.I.E.N and Tim Kedia. We thank you for all the support, for the thumbs up, thumbs down, for the likes, the comments, the questions, concerns. If something comes to your mind that you didn't remember, type us a message. Send a message, man. Talk to us offline if you want to talk to us offline. I'm not afraid to talk about anything. Know that you must continue to just JBY, just be you. Promote yourself, sell yourself, push yourself to be the greatest version of you. Do it for your children as well. What's going on, Sutton? Do it for your children as well. Be the example that you want to see. Be the example that you want to see. And remember, man, it's 3 things that I believe that helps parents to become solid parents. One is learning how to listen to your children, not just listening to respond and talk down to them, but listening to understand their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Listen to your children. The next one is what the good book says. Don't judge. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. And I get it. You know, kids want to do wild things as teenagers. They want to sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Cool, got it. I've been there. Wanted to do it, did it, was about that life. First kid at 17. Don't regret any of my children. I understand now and realize now maybe I did it too young. And maybe my parents was right about that. But when it happened, it's happened. You have to figure out how to support them from that point on.
Right.
So, again, not judging your children, because someone was judging you as well and you didn't like it. You know, so don't judge your children and be honest with your children. Be honest with your children, man. Like, you don't have to be super transparent like I am and tell them all your deep, dirty secrets, but be honest with your children enough to the fact that they know it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay that mom and dad didn't have it all together, but we still got a roof over our head. We still eating every day. We still got dependable running vehicles, and mom and dad is still figuring it out day by day. As long as you're alive, you will never have it all figured out. It's a process. So as you're in this process of parenting, remember, you were a child before. You had your own thoughts. You had your own ideas. You had your own concept of what life was. Remember that. And then implement the actions or the relationship that you want to have with your child. You get more done with love than you do with force. If you want to have a loving relationship, be the bigger person. Drop your ego. Drop your pride. Call your child, especially if your child is out the house and grown. Like, call your child and figure out how y'all make it work. Get past yesterday and move on. Celebrate the fact that they making it, you know? Get past that. So we definitely appreciate you sharing this time with us. But remember, man, listen to your kids. Don't judge your kids. Be honest with your kids. And I don't guarantee anything, but I'm pretty sure that if you do those 3 things, honestly and truthfully from your heart, you couldn't have nothing but a good relationship with your children moving forward. What you got for them, love? As I'm closing out the show, what you got? You got any food for thought that you want to leave them with? You got a prayer? You got a dad? You got anything? You got anything? Sutton says, preach, brother. This is good stuff. Food for thought. Food for the thought. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Every time somebody used the word preach or evangelist with me at the same time, it just it does something to me. Dear God, Holy Spirit, Father. Like, what are you going to have me do? Anyhow, man, we not perfect. We not looking to be perfect. No one is. All we're hoping to do is give you the information that we've learned over 24 years of parenting, of making mistakes, ups and downs, and helping somebody learn how to build a productive and strong relationship with their family. If you married, love your parents to death, but your wife, your husband is the person that you need to focus on about how to run your household, because y'all are parents of other children and they're watching you. It's not what you say, it's what you do. Over 65% of the world are visual learners. So someone's always watching you. And if you want to be a good parent, set the example that you want to see your kids carry on. My uncle stated it earlier. That's why he works and pays his bills and not worry about anybody calling him or harassing him, because he watched his mother do it, my grandmother do it. My grandmother, single, but I never met my grandfather. I believe he died when my uncle Tony was born. My grandmother, if I'm not mistaken, had 14 kids. One passed away. So from the time that I can remember, my grandmother was a single woman. She was a widow. And I watched her buy maybe 2 or 3 houses and a ton of nice cars and take care of all her kids. And they turned out pretty good. Nobody in jail, nobody murdered, nothing crazy like that. They turned out pretty good. And I would like to say that's setting a pretty good example. So set the example you want to see. I'm going to be sharing your page every time I see it. People need to hear you use words, your words. Sutton, all right, Sutton, I really appreciate it. I see you tune in the morning and like Sutton be on my 6 o'clock in the morning Facebook Live when I'm walking back on the ruck day.
Ruck day, suck day.
And congratulations on your daughter, right? You just had a little girl, you and your wife. So congratulations on child number 2. I see you doing good parenting work over there, Sutton. He's always posting pictures about his daughter, young father, young married man, very, very happy in what he's doing in life, and that's good. So I thank you for the support, man. You just never know who's watching you, and you planting seeds. And as a parent, and this is for parents or anyone looking to become a parent, think about the seeds that you're planting in your children's life. Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much, Sutton. I could stay on here forever, but I guess it's time to go because we didn't been here an hour and 40 minutes. And
yes,
I don't know. I'd be 3-4 hours. They're like, you gonna ever shut up? But anyhow, you know what? I seen that. I seen that. Well, thank you for sharing this time with us, man. Parenting 101 with Mr. P.I.E.N and his better half, Tim Kedia, Ease and Keys. You got anything?
No, we want to let the people go.
It's been real. It's your boy Ethan Smith, aka Mr. P.I.E.N. I'm out. We going now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.